domain names? Are they in the fridge? God damn it.
Did you look in the closet? That's where they were last time.
Oh. GoDaddy.com. If you use the coupon code iFanboy, you can get 10% off your domain purchases. Head over to GoDaddy.com where you get your own piece of the internet. And with pie.
This week on iFanboy, we're talking about sketches. And what's Gordon the Intern up to? To iFanboy, the video podcast from the comic book discussion site iFanboy.com. I'm Ron, and I'm here with Connor.
Hey.
And I'm Josh.
He is.
We've been to a lot of comic book conventions, and it's something that if you like to read comics, that you should definitely get to. If you may have seen that we did a couple of shows on the New York Comic Con and WonderCon, and one on San Diego last year, and we'll be going again this year. But if you're going, one of the big things that happens is the sketches. And that becomes, for some people, it's the reason for going to the con because, you know, you read comics because you love them and it's your favorite artist, and then it's really easy when you go to get some piece of original art from these guys if they're sketching.
They're just a lot of times the companies have booths with tables and the creators are just sitting there and the artists are there and they're just ready to draw for you.
And it's so unique to comics. Yeah. You can't go to like a film convention and hand somebody a camera and be like,
"Can you shoot the scene for me?"
Marty Scorsese shot this for me. It was awesome. You can't do that.
It's so unique to the medium that you can actually connect and get a piece of the art.
It's a lot of fun, actually.
But it's also recent. It's a recent phenomenon.
Is it really?
Relatively. I mean, and we're old, but I mean, when I would go as a kid, you didn't get sketches. They signed books. Everyone signed books. No one ever got a sketch.
I never understood the allure of the autograph. Like, if people come with the stacks of books to get autographed, I know there's a value thing there, or whatever. But I was just like, yeah, it's an autograph. Who cares? But like the sketch to me is like they're creating something. It's like they're doing their thing.
Well, I mean, the writers are sitting at the tables there too, so right. I guess. But you know what? Like, I have books that are signed by the writer.
Yeah.
I have. I remember the first year I ever went. Like, Claremont was there.
Yeah.
I want Claremont to sign my thing. You'd want Stan Lee to sign. You know, like I had Claremont sign my Wolverine #1 from
really?
82. Yeah.
Oh wow, cool.
He signed that one, and my other Wolverine #1.
Yeah.
I don't really like Wolverine that much. But
why did you have them with you?
No. But when you go to the convention, like, there's a whole cultural thing around it.
Yeah.
You end up with all these questions of, well, is this what I should do? Or maybe I just think this.
There is an etiquette. I mean, I didn't know. Going into my first convention, I had heard about Josh had gone previously. He was like, it's great, you get these sketches. And I was like, oh, excited. I remember getting to the floor and seeing people online for the sketches and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, I don't really know what to do here. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we want to do in this episode was kind of learn you. So.
Well, the first thing you do is find somebody you'd like to get a sketch from and find out when they're signing. Preferably show up early. No.
Well, it's true. Sometimes at some of the big conventions, the DC booth, the Marvel booth, when they are sketching, the lines get very long, very quick.
Every year they're getting worse.
Yeah.
And so kind of like you could make it like my whole day is I want to get a sketch from Jim Lee.
Patrick the Intern does
Patrick
that.
the Intern stayed in line for half an hour for Rob Liefeld.
Was it 3 hours? I thought it was.
Was it 3 hours?
It was more than a half an hour. It was a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was 3 hours for Rob Liefeld. Didn't get a sketch.
There are some guys, like at the Marvel booth and the DC booth, or Top Cow or I've never been to the Top Cow booth. There'll be a line and you're not gonna have to pay for it. You don't know that. However, if you're going to Artist Alley, you kind of don't know what to do. You'll go over and you're like, oh, there's Steve Lieber sitting there. He did Whiteout. I really liked Whiteout. But you don't know
when the artists are in Artist Alley, they're paying for that table themselves. They've taken upon themselves to come to the convention. The companies aren't putting them up, so it's kind of okay for them to charge for the sketches. Mm-hmm. I mean, Chris Giarrusso, somebody who's always there, and he's always charging. Mike
Mignola always charges for sketches.
Does he really?
Yeah,
Does he need the money?
But then again, if you think about it, like $10 for a piece of original art from Mike Mignola, that's
not that bad. Yeah.
Alex Ross charges $3,000 to $4,000, I think, he does like a line and then he shades that line.
So some of the creators sometimes have signs that say sketches $10, sketches $20, or not doing sketches, whatever. It's pretty safe to say that if you go to one of the company booths, you can ask for a sketch and they'll do it free of charge.
Right. If they're doing them, sometimes they'll be a little. I'm not doing sketches.
Yeah.
What are you here for?
Yeah.
What was interesting? Well, the first year we went, 2001, it was almost primitive in that I remember going to that Marvel booth where it was like 4 guys in a row and you just went down the line.
Yeah.
And now everybody has their own separate line. That's why we have like the same 4 sketches in all of our books, because we all got like Tim Sale, we all got Mac, we all got Dylan. Like they were sitting there. Now everyone's got like a schedule and there's a time. Everyone's got their own line.
Right.
Then there's the awkward moment when they're drawing or whatever, and you don't know.
Some can talk during it. Some can't.
Some people will be like, "Oh, I totally like this and this." I don't know why I don't like to do that. They're like, "I really like what you did here," and then I like what you did here, and then there'll be the guy who's like, "I didn't like this book at all," while the guy's doing a drawing for you, and that gets kind of weird for the people behind.
Yeah, it's great to hear the conversations ahead of you, to hear people, because the conversations are always awkward, because there's a bit of a rock star kind of theme to it. A bit of, it's kind of like meeting an actor.
I think that's one of the reasons that you've seen, like he said, you didn't used to see it as much as you do now, is that they're turning these guys into, rock stars
names,
or whatever the equivalent of that is, so that there's a cachet that goes with that, and then every year those sketch lines get longer.
Yeah.
And also, there's eBay.
But the most important thing to remember though is that these artists, they're people too, and honestly it's a job, and they're sitting at a table for 3 hours sketching. So when you go up, be nice. Try to, engage them a little.
Keep in mind, it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's a physical job to actually do that, and if you're doing it all day, that's no mean thing.
But
we're infecting them. And
with our colds, like New York. The entire New York Comic Con got sick that weekend. It's amazing. The creators are going down left and right. Books are late now. It's awful. But hey, that's what you do, and it's in February. So in New York. But so we've got a couple of years of sketches. We got our sketchbooks here, so we thought we'd share some of our favorite
it's really
stories.
Important
and
if you're going and you want to do that.
Yeah.
You need to go and get yourself a sketchbook. Yeah. This one's like
any art supply store. You can
Borders.
Go. Yeah, Borders
too. They were like $10 or something like that. Yeah. The first year that I ever went, I didn't have that, so I have these backboards that are stored in the comic
Which is
bag
smart.
Still.
That was it.
Kind of worked.
Did you see someone else doing that and you're like, "Ooh, that's a good idea," or was this all completely you?
I thought of it myself.
Wow.
It meant that I had to take the backboards out of something that I really liked. So, for example, this one is a J. Lee Black Bolt, if you know me. But I had to take my Inhumans #1 out of it. And then put this and then sort of turn that around and do the thing.
So you didn't go buy backboards?
No.
You had issues.
I'm a cheap.
Did you bring issues to get signed? Or did you buy the issue there?
The first year, it was 2000, it was a long time ago I ever went. I didn't really know what to expect because I'd never been to a comic convention. I went by myself, and I went on a Friday, a Saturday.
Yeah.
First day I went, I didn't have anything with me.
Yeah.
The second day, I was like, put stuff in my backpack, carry stuff around.
So you came prepared, I see.
I didn't have we showed the guy with the 4 boxes. And
you weren't like that.
Did you forget a sketchbook one year? Is that why you have 2?
That Ron gave me that one.
That's important to know.
You bought an extra one because you thought you forgot yours.
Oh, right.
And you were like, "I have an extra one," and I was like, "This guy."
I'm prepared. I try to be prepared. So
you got.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've got about 5 years worth of sketches. Although, admittedly, I kind of went kind of crazy when I first started going to conventions, and then it's kind of died off as I've gotten a lot of the artists I've wanted. There are some artists that I would like to get someday. That I haven't. Like a McFarlane or something like that. But it's never going to happen. Let's be realistic. But it's funny how you have different interactions with the creators and the people around them, and Brian Michael Bendis is somebody who we've had a lot of interaction with, who we're a big fan of. I remember back in 2001, this is right after Powers came out, right around Ultimate Spider-Man coming out. He just kind of beginning. He'd done Fortune and Glory. He's one of those writer-artist hybrids kind of thing at the time. And I remember we're waiting in line at the Image booth where at the time he was with Image, and he was sharing a booth with Mac and Oming.
David Mack
and Mike Oming. Oming and himself. And we're waiting in line, and he's talking to people, and Bendis' wife was actually there. And we're waiting, so we kind of start chatting her up, and we're holding our sketchbook, and I said, "Oh, is..."
That sounds like flirting.
Well, no, I was just being polite. And I said, "Does Brian sketch?" And she goes, "Oh, no, he never sketches. No. And I'm like, "Oh, crap," And then for whatever reason, we got off that line. And then the next day, he was signing at the Marvel booth, and got up there by sketchbook, and I'm like, "Well, I know she said he doesn't sketch, but I'm a bastard, I'll ask." And so I'm like, "Oh, do you sketch?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sure," and did a great sketch. It was of himself from Fortune and Glory. Yeah. So and it was just it was kind of the opposite of what his wife had told me.
Though.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have that.
But then Connor was right behind me and got the exact same sketch.
It's like a photocopy of it.
Which is
you can't blame them.
No. I mean, you understand that's the. Without the dialogue balloon, basically. And it's easier for them to just have in their mind what they're going to sketch every time.
And a lot of people like Tim Sale and who have the same idea what they're going to do, but they also kind of half-ass it. The profile is something that happens a lot.
This is a line from Tim Sale. This was at the time Long Halloween was out, and I was like, "Oh God, he's one of my favorite artists." And he was like, "Yeah." He spent more time on his name than he did the rest of it.
Also, Steve Dillon is somebody we used to see, don't see anymore at the cons
Yeah,
anymore.
a couple of years ago he was around.
This was he's the most grizzled man at any convention you'll see.
He was like one of the interesting things is that you don't know what, similar to when you listen to an audio podcast and you see a video podcast, you're like, oh, that's what they look like. I didn't know what Steve Dillon looked like, and so when you got up into line, I just see this kind of unshaven,
Imagine
kind
Keith Richards.
Yeah,
without the little hair
a
beads.
little bit of a shake, a little
He
bit
looked
of a,
like he just rolled out of bed after drinking Guinness till like 4 in the morning.
exactly. And he kept on asking if he can go get a cigarette. You know, like it was just like.
And he sketches with a ballpoint pen,
which I thought was hysterical, which was great. Which is he just there with a pen.
But he also Ron and I look at our sketches here. It's basically the same sketch again.
Yeah, but it's
he does the profile.
He does do the profile, but he's more detailed than some other profiles.
You actually have a little. I got a little
perspective. Yeah, a little perspective.
That's nice.
A nice Cassidy from Preacher.
I think I have a Cassidy in there somewhere too.
Yeah. But so conversely, from the kind of half-assed group, they're the ones who just go all into it.
Oh yeah.
And I think you have an example.
Well, I was talking to Tom Beeland, who does True Story, Swear to God. Now, admittedly, it's an indie book. He's not going to have a giant following, so he had more time. And I was like, well, I bought this book, and you put a little thing in it.
Was there a line?
No. And like I got a whole scene. It's himself as Thor. They're at the beach. There's his wife. It's my name, his name, my word below. Like he drew it with pencils, he inked it. It was full on. And I was like, I've had other ones. Steve Lieber did one like that for me.
Steve Lieber went in and he inked it with a brush, didn't he?
It's beautiful. And I went. And
How long were you at his table for?
A while. Which it's fine. No, it wasn't awkward, and I don't remember. But it's kind of like I don't know anything else about Steve Lieber.
Yeah.
I'd read Whiteout and freaking loved it. But he starts doing it with a pencil. That's pretty cool. He's like, hold on. And I'm like, okay. He takes the brush out, and ink, and he's doing this. And he starts blotting, and he's the whole thing. And I was like, I was like, wow. And he's like, don't close that for a while. I was like, so you gotta walk around with it like this. And like a day later, I brought it to Greg Rucka because I was like, can you sign this too? And he's like, wow, that's really good. I was like, I know. Isn't that cool? So he signed mine too, which is awesome.
But Ron wins in the story of a creator going above and beyond.
Yeah, well, my prize sketch, one of my favorite ones. I'm a big fan of Sam Keith, who did the Max and did some work on Sandman and a lot of Wolverine work and Marvel Comics Presents back in the early '90s. And he was signing at the DC booth. It was right around when Zero Girl was out, and he was signing at the DC booth. I actually got in line, and it's one of those long lines, and they cap it, and the person with the "I'm last in line" sign. I was right in front of the person who was last in line, and I literally waited for 3 hours. No joke. I waited for 3 hours. Got up to him.
Not videotaping interviews anymore.
Right.
Makes it easier.
Got up to him, handed my sketchbook, and the person running the DC person running the booth goes, "Up, Sam, your time's up." And me and my full New Yorker in San Diego, I just go, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" and I kind of lost control. I didn't get mad, but it was just that gut reaction, because I don't like waiting in lines. And so I said, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" And Sam Keith looks up at me and goes, "No, it's all right. We'll go to the food court here." And grabs my sketchbook, grabs all his stuff, and leads me to the food court. Now what happens is that everyone else online follows us to the food court. So now there's this gaggle of people to the food court, and we sit down at a table, and he starts sketching, and he did a sketch of Julie from the Max for me, and this went on for about 30 minutes.
Didn't he start with the blue pencil?
He first did it with blue pencil, then he went over it with pencil, then he went over it with pen, then he went around with the whiteout to fix things. And it was beautiful. It was great to watch him watch. He's also not real one for the conversation. So you're just kind of sitting there watching. And you're just, I like that book. Yeah. So it's one of my favorite sketches. Great story. It was a lot of fun. So
we went to Top Shelf one time to talk to Eddie Campbell.
This was our first year. This was 2001 also.
Yeah. Don't date us so much.
Well, this is important because that was From Hell. Really,
it was when the book had come out.
Ron, you went up to him and you wanted a specific thing.
Yeah, I wanted a whore. So,
From Hell is about the
Jack the Ripper killings.
Whores who get killed by Jack the Ripper.
So I read the book a couple months before that, and I got up there and I said, he's like, "What would you like? A sketch?" He's like, "Yeah, what would you like?" And I said, and I'm frantically trying to think of the whore's name. And I was like, Mary Kelly, yeah, that one. And so he gave me a whore. So it was pretty good.
I got a Netley.
Netley was the carriage driver for Jack the Ripper.
Gull's coachman.
And if I remember correctly, Eddie Campbell...
He was like, who? I was like, he's one of the major characters. He's like, I gotta look and see what that looked like. Seems enough.
He opened up the From Hell book and he's just like, oh, that guy.
Yeah. So he drew me neatly.
Yeah.
And these two experiences were so awkward that I didn't even attempt it because he looked annoyed by the end of the
Well, the awkwardness can get really. I mean.
See, the thing is, we were going through our sketchbooks, and I only have probably 6 or 7 sketches, and I stopped. I didn't get any after the first year we went to the cons because I don't like the awkwardness. I feel bad for them.
It's tough, and like one of the
I think
more.
most people don't think that. Is that just us?
Like, are we just totally like
self-aware.
yeah, like we just.
I just feel guilty for like making them sketch or wasting their time, or just like not having anything to talk about. So I just stopped doing it completely.
One of the more awkward ones I had was with Etheric Larsen, only because I don't know if anybody, Eric Larsen of Savage Dragon fame. I'm a big fan of his, and there was a whole bunch of years that I tried to, and I wussed out. Like, I don't want to bother him. Oh no, he's not sketching now. Like, it's this weird like kind of dance you do.
You'll see them alone.
Yeah.
And you're like.
It's very awkward. But so I finally got the courage to go up to him and get a sketch, and I got a sketch of Savage Dragon, which was awesome. If you've never seen Eric Larsen draw, because he kind of turns his arm like this and does it. It's very, and it was awkward. It's
crab-like.
And he's not much for conversation either, so it was very, love your book. Yeah.
It just feels weird to like you hand them your book, they silently sketch for you.
Yeah.
They spend however long they do it, and they hand it back silently, and then you're on your way. It just kind of feels wrong.
Well, there's some that can talk you up, and they like Phil Jimenez, who also I'm a big fan of. I was at his table for at least 20 minutes. The sketch only took 5 minutes. We talked about movies for half the time. We were just like, "Oh, did you see that?" Like it was just like he was totally talking while he was drawing, and it was just, it was very casual and very cool. So
when we did that interview on WonderCon, did he remember you?
No, not so much.
I actually wanted to. I've got my first sketch I ever got.
Yeah.
I went to Ithacon
I remember that.
in 1990s.
A little tiny convention in Ithaca, New York.
Yeah,
In the high school gym.
And I've never like this. I was like, ooh, look at there's 8 tables here. But the guest of honor was Walt Simonson with Louise Simonson, and he was. I'd only barely started reading comic books again at that point. I'd read for a few years when I was younger. And so I kind of didn't remember. I was like, but that's the guy who did Thor. And I just sort of remembered. So my friend's like, I'm going to get a sketch. I'm like, you can do that? Really? And I don't know anything about it. And I get up there. And my friend actually had gotten he'd gotten one from Walt Simonson earlier. It was a Hulk head.
Nice.
And he wanted an opposing Thing head so he could bookend them.
Oh, cool.
And he gave it to them. And it was really cool and big looking. And I was like, can I get Thor? And then I was like, and he's like, okay. And I was like, with the hammer? Because I was like, I want the, like, I don't like the Thor head.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I'd love the full body shot, but I didn't know what could happen. So this has been on my wall since then. And he drew the Thor with the hammer, and this is his signature on the side. And it's great because what happened was he's sitting next to his wife, Louise Simonson, who's a longtime comic book writer, and he finishes it, and you can see him go like this. He goes, Wheezy, look. He turns and she's proud of it. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, when they're proud of it, it's good. I love when you ask for, like, I have a Will's Portico, whatever. I got it a year or two ago, and I asked him to draw Archangel from when he drew X Factor in 1990. And I said, can you do Archangel? And he just looked at me like, and it wasn't spoken, but you could see he was thinking, God, that was like 15 years ago. It's like, fine.
Did you ever bargain with him?
No.
I went up to Scott Collins when he was doing the Flash, and I was like, can I get a Flash? He's like, I'm not sketching. I was like, how about a boot? And so he's like, a boot? I go, the Flash boot with the ridges. And he's like, all right. And like at the end, it was the same thing. He's like, hey, the boot. Like I was like, yeah, I stumped him.
We went to the year that they did the Stanley Presents books, where Stanley reimagined all the DC characters, and Dave Gibbons, the Watchmen artist, was doing the Green Lantern book. And we went to a panel about it, and he was talking about how he loved Green Lantern as a kid. So he's sketching, and everyone's getting a Watchmen sketch. Everybody's getting Rorschach. Everybody's getting Owl.
I got a Rorschach.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna be the cool guy, because that's what you think, is you want to do something different, and I'll get Green Lantern.
Everybody in line thinks they're gonna be the cool guy.
I'll get Green Lantern because it's unexpected. He'll enjoy it more.
Yeah.
So I go up and I go, can I have Green Lantern? And he looks at me like I've got 4 heads. Like, why would you
don't want a Watchmen sketch?
It's just like, Hal Jordan.
So, anyway, getting sketches is one of my favorite things at the cons. I still bring my sketchbook to every convention, even though we're all over the floor talking to the creators more.
But do you still get sketches?
I try. I mean to. I meant to at the New York Con. I brought my sketchbook. I want to get a McNiven, and but it didn't happen so much. But
he showed up late.
He waited in line for McNiven for about 5 minutes.
I can't do the lines anymore. It's I
got one in San Diego. I got one from the guys from Penny Arcade. That was it.
Yeah. So anyway, so if you go to a convention, get a sketchbook. go meet the creators. They actually, and we talk about the awkwardness and the weirdness, but more often than not, they'll tell you they enjoy doing it.
How awesome is the dude who's going to sit there and draw for you? That's the coolest.
And they do enjoy it. They do enjoy connecting with you.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
Just be nice. Just be polite. Don't assume you have to have a sketch.
Yeah.
Like people need us to tell them to be nice.
Be nice.
Some do. You've seen the cons.
I've seen the forums. But wait.
There's more.
Try our product. We put a little something together for you.
Some of you might have been introduced to our faithful intern, Gordon the intern. He was out with us in San Diego. His debut was in San Diego last year, and he's been helping out with some of the videos, some of the promos, and he does a lot of work for us behind the scenes.
But what does Gordon do?
That's probably the most asked question we get is, what does Gordon the intern actually do here?
It is. So we put together this little package for you to introduce you to kind of a day in the life of Gordon.
You guys are back with the groceries and your dry cleaning.
Yeah, back there.
So this is what you need to know about the X-Men. All right.
Take notes.
If you think you need them. All right. So X-Men started in 1963. Okay. I've actually got here a copy of issue number 19 from 1966.
Okay.
No, don't touch. You can smell it. Smell it. See that smell? That smells like good comics.
And then JD says at 12:09, oh, thank God, a new team for Flash. And then Fred says at 12:23, I really feel like the whole world is fucking with me.
Okay, LOL.
All caps.
I think the world is fucking with you, Fred. Ramos is great. And one of those smileys. And then submit.
Okay. And then the next one is about last night's Smallville.
Did you watch that yet? Did I like it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I missed Astro City, the store again.
Just send Gordon.
Last time he brought the wrong comic back.
Oh.
I think he got lost going to the store, too.
Yeah.
I never got my change back.
And actually, he's not really good at that kind of thing. It's a little challenging.
Ooh, new Doctor Strange next week.
And everybody thought the X-Men were dead. And because they were, because they had that magic spell to make them not appear on any sort of electronical devices, they decided to go down to Australia where they're hiding out. Because Gateway, that mutant, the teleporting mutant, the Aborigine guy with the rocks, he could teleport them anywhere in the world. So their base of operations now became Australia, which is pretty cool because it was different than the typical Westchester, kind of locale for the X-Men. So they're in Australia and they're fighting the Reavers, and that's Donald Pierce from the Hellfire Club's new team.
Alright, so just, this is the song I've been working on for a while. I think it's pretty good now. So just, let me know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be totally honest. I appreciate this a lot, by the way. So it's
No
cool.
problem.
Okay, great.
No, it's great.
3, 2. Okay, hang on. Sorry. 3, 2. I got it. Okay. 3, 2, and.
That's really great. I really like that. But I gotta go find Connor real quick.
The melodies.
Yeah, no, it's great. If this podcast thing doesn't work out, you should totally do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. See ya.
Thanks, Gordon. Appreciate that.
He's actually Nathan Summers, the child of Scott and Madeline Pryor from all those years ago. Because remember when the kid got infected with the techno-organic virus and they sent him into the future to be taken care of, to be cured? Well, that techno-organic virus is what makes that metal arm. So now he's Cable and he's here in our timeline. He's from the future, but he was born in our timeline, but he's like 40 now. And he's actually older than his dad, Cyclops.
Gordon!
Yeah. Yeah.
Owl.
So, hopefully your questions are now answered.
He does work hard, doesn't he?
He does. And Gordon! I want some iced tea!
Is he building something over there?
I think he is. Anyway, so we love Gordon, and we love all of our interns actually. So they're good. We have a good staff. We're lucky.
You hand out that title like they do nobilities.
You had to think about that, didn't you? All right, so if you have any questions for us, you can email us at contact@ifanboy.com. We love to get the email.
You can also call us at 1-800-FANBOYS. No, that's more.
1-888. Yes, it's not
1-888-FANBOYS.
Don't do 1-800, please.
Call the number on the screen.
1-888-FANBOYS is 326-2697.
And of course, if you want to talk about this, any sketches you had, any experiences you have, or any other damn thing we're talking about, you should go to ifanboy.com. We have our great discussions there all the time. From there's a link to the forums where you can talk about even more stuff.
The audio podcast, the other video podcast episodes. So we'd love to have you there.
And the pick of the week every Wednesday.
Yes.
See that? Plug.
All right. So until next week,
Thanks very much.
Go get some sketches.
See ya.
Ha